Welcome to Two Souls Podcast, a podcast to shift, impact, empower, and disrupt your consciousness, ultimately allowing you to thrive in this human experience. Now here are your hosts, Amber Meganhauser and Angela Blaha. Welcome to Two Souls Podcast. Angela here.
And I am Amber. Hello.
Thank you for joining us on our podcast today. Today, we've been talking for how many seasons now? This is season 4, or 3 seasons for sure, about how to release from all the belief systems, how to release from all the emotions, how to clear yourself, clear the path, I want to say, to your vision, to your big picture, to your highest self, to your soul self. And this season is all about living the purpose, actually being your highest version of who you are here, right? And shifting our consciousness so that we can actually create a new kind of an experience here because the old experience doesn't work anymore, as we all know. So last week we talked about the vision, right? Like getting the vision, seeing the vision, and then how you play out the vision. This week, we're talking about being committed to the vision. I think that this is a huge area that maybe we don't take serious enough, or maybe we just sort of say, oh yeah, I'm kind of committed to that. Or maybe we don't even bring it into our consciousness. We don't even think about being committed to yourself. We talked about that before, though, being committed to yourself.
Yeah.
But now it's a step further or a step deeper, and being committed not only to yourself, but to your purpose. The real reason why we're here as a human race, and being committed, we have to be 100% committed in order to shift our consciousness. And so that's what we want to talk about this week, is the commitment. So what happens to you, Amber, when that word is brought up? Like, what happens to your body? What happens to your mind? Where do the emotions go?
Well, just even listening to you talk about this, we've kind of chatted a little bit about this lately. And I don't think we all carry a little bit of fear of commitment, but we don't really realize that we are. And we both wanted to do this, I don't really want to call it a project, but we wanted to talk about the commitment and what we're committed for, our purpose, our everything that we want to do. And I really kind of had a hard time with it. And I was just like, what is your deal with this? Like, why do you not want to? It's not that I didn't want to do it. It's almost like I didn't know what I wanted to commit to. So I'm like, okay, why am I doing this? But after sitting with it and really like questioning myself on why I was actually procrastinating it, and I didn't really realize that it was the procrastination. It actually was the fear, like, okay, if I commit to this, I have to hold myself accountable for this, and everything that comes with it. It's not just a fear of commitment. It also comes with a little bit of, am I going to be successful doing this? Am I going to be great doing this? Am I going to be really bad at doing this? What if I can't hold to my own commitment? So I think it actually kind of made me go on a little bit of a roller coaster on, okay, what do I need to change within myself to be able to commit? Because our ego can't help but bring in all these fears, like, what if I'm not good enough? What if I commit to this? What if I don't quite make it? Or what if it changes? Or what if I don't do it right? And I got really stuck in the what if I can't do this? And so it was super weird, but I think that goes along with a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about. The ego does come in and it does try to talk us out of this. And it's like, no, I know exactly what I need to do and what I need to commit to be better at fulfilling the purpose I'm here for.
I think that's the huge important piece of this whole thing. Is in the past, I think we've taken commitment as something that maybe it isn't. Like the when we're talking about being committed, it means that you're here to literally fulfill something that's bigger than you are. And I think that's when the ego comes in and says, nope, you're going to fail because you can't live up to that God self. You can't live up to that perceived expectation of being as a big, you can't be your own healer. You can't be your own, we've been programmed about these kinds of things for eons, right? And now
Yeah.
here we are in this beautiful energy, in this level of consciousness that says, yes, you are, and yes, you can, and yes, you will, right? And we are still
Yes.
sitting back saying, yeah, I don't know, right? I don't know if I could do that. I don't know, right? And all the doubt comes in, the distractions come in, the chaos comes in. But here's what I've learned is that if you don't commit to your highest self and your purpose, your mission for being here, all there is chaos. And we've experienced chaos in
Yes.
our purpose. In this big
Yeah.
giant picture that we're here to fulfill, we've experienced the chaos. And not being committed allows that chaos to come in and to be manifest. Versus if you're really committed to yourself, committed to your purpose, committed to the shift in consciousness, which is what our big vision is, then there is no chaos. There's no room for it because you're just holding that focus. You're holding you're 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 literally holding the energy and of the focus, and there's no room for chaos. There's no room for doubt. There's no room for worry or anxiety or judgment, right? There's no room for it. And we have experienced the evidence of having the vision. I mean, all of the clients that we have, the people that come into the eatery, the like people that come into the apothecary, like they are all just like on board. We don't get the criticisms any longer. We don't really get we do get some of the chaos from us creating the chaos, but we don't, but the outside chaos isn't even present.
Completely
I think
agree.
I think that's a key to knowing that you're on the path or on the right path, or that you can be committed, is the evidence around you. Like the evidence before, when you had things, beliefs to clear away or emotions to get under control, or whatever the clearing was before, you could see the chaos be manifest outside of you because you're projecting that. But when you're sitting and you're holding the focus of your purpose, of your path, of your vision, your whatever it is, you're holding that focus, all of the people around you, you're no longer projecting the chaos into the world. You're no longer projecting your doubt into the world. You're projecting it within yourself. I think that that's where the scary part comes in, is because you actually have to look at what you're doing, your behaviors, your mannerisms, your thoughts, your emotions, how connected you really are to your own consciousness. I think that that's where the projection comes in, and that's where the fear comes in, because you're not seeing it outside of you any longer. You're actually seeing it inside you.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think that some of the fear too is just the unknown portion of it that I haven't experienced before too. That's scary for everybody. And yeah, you have these great big amazing visions, but your mind wants to take it to the how. How do I get there? How do I do this? How do I do that? And that is one of the things that I think, being a beginner in the journey, you always question the how. And getting caught up in the how, it actually ruins all of your flow. And even when I was trying to figure out, okay, like what area in my life do I need to commit to be better at what I'm doing? And the minute I did it, it was like, how do you do this? How do you do this? How can I do this to change this? And I totally got caught up in the how. And I couldn't even figure out what I needed to commit to. it's like I did, but I didn't, because I questioned every area that I was doing. And I think that the word commitment alone, just, it almost is like, for me, it is like it in a way gives up my freedom, because,
Mhm.
and this is, I think, relating to my past, and just, it's that word, whether it's not really, it means something different on many different levels, but in my past, that word was not a good word for me. But now, in this present moment, I do need to work through that word, because it's not like it's a bad word from my past, but my commitment from the past, I never fulfilled my commitments. And I don't think it was that, um like, not necessarily fulfilling them, but they always changed, and I always wanted to leave myself open for more. So I felt like if I committed to something, I was gonna, like, miss out on something else.
The fear of missing out. Boy, that's a big programming in our societies. And we don't even give it much thought. We just know that we want to be around somebody who's successful, or we want to be, in a career that looks like it's successful. But the you said a really interesting point, and I think that this is where a lot of people, myself included, the fear, like it gives up your freedom. Commitment, being committed, we have this perspective that we lose our freedom when, if we actually turned the table on that and said, okay, well, I'm going to commit 100% to my vision of shifting consciousness, but we know that when we shift consciousness, there's more freedom because our thoughts aren't programmings, they're actual, wait, what works for me? Our emotions aren't programming, they're, wait, how does this feel? Our connection to our highest self, our soul self, our spirit, our God self isn't a programming. It's the real deal. It's like you feel like you are that, right? Like you feel that you
Yeah.
can heal yourself. You feel that you can like be in control of your addictions. You feel that you are in control here. And when you're in control of yourself, of the way that you think, the way that you feel, the connection that you have to your highest self, then all the behaviors become very free. It's the behaviors that keep us stuck, that keep us from being free, because our behaviors will lead us the um, into the addictions. Our behaviors will lead us into not eating clean, healthy food. Our behavior is what will lead us into, using drugs or using alcohol or using people. Though it's the behaviors that keep you confined, and the ego 100% rules the behaviors. And so when we talk about freedom, I think we need to and I think that this comes from a very, uh, in my world, it comes from, the word commitment comes from a religious commitment. I'm committed to my partner for life. I'm committed to, serving God for life. I'm committed to serving my family for life. It's very much connected into that hierarchical kind of um, factors, that we were all kind of raised with, particularly in the country that we live in. And so when we're talking about freedoms, we have zero freedoms in governmental decisions right now. We have zero freedoms in, how we respond to the pressures or the rules that are being forced onto humanity right now. This is one of the atrocities that ooh, I'm not here. I'm here to reverse those atrocities. And we have zero freedoms. If we look at our lives right now, where are you free?
Yeah, you're not. You said something that really stood out. And I think that is exactly what this is, that it's, in a way, we both grew up in the church, and the commitment part of it, you said it perfectly, is, what we were taught is that commitment was to serve others. And so it totally makes sense why you feel like it strips your freedom. But commitment, after like going through all of this and even talking about it, commitment is something totally different. It's actually a commitment to yourself, to nobody else, not to serve anybody else, not to do anything for anybody else. It's a commitment to yourself to be better.
Well, it's a commitment to your soul self. And
Yes.
when we bring in the soul self, that creates a wholeness, right? It creates a sense of like, I'm whole now. And, but we don't have experience in being whole. That's where the fear is. We don't have experience in being whole. And when we are whole, we are 100% free. And so we think that we're going to be stripped of freedoms, but actually we're given more freedoms, because
Yeah.
now you're not following a program. You're not feeling the program, the intensity of the program. You're looking at it and saying, yeah, that's not really how it is. You're using your own knowledge and wisdom, which is part of the seven powers of the soul, right? You're using your own power to assess everything that happens in the world, and you feel like you're an outlier at that point, because it's like you're not going with the rest of the sheep. You're not going with the rest of what humanity believes is a truth. And you do feel like an outlier. You do feel like you're out here by yourself. And I think that that's where, but it's so free out here that we don't know how to handle the freedom. We've talked about this before. Like, we don't know how to handle freedom, real freedom.
Yeah.
We know how to handle freedom that somebody else tells me I can be free with. Like, I can be free with the way I think, but I can't speak the way that I think. Right? That's not freedom. But yet that's the world we live in. I can be free with my thoughts and my, the creativity, but I can't express it. That's not
Yeah.
freedom. But that's the world that we live in right now. So when we think about freedom, we're not free. We are not free. And until you actually move into being committed to your highest self, to that giant purpose, that's when freedom comes. But again, how do we handle freedom?
Yeah. I think freedom actually is one of the hardest phases I went through in
Mm-hmm.
my journey, hands down.
Yeah.
Be-
And at this point of living the vision, the freedom becomes deeper and deeper and deeper.
yeah.
We're still clearing things out of our consciousness, right? We're still clearing things out of our real mission here. And when you get to the level of living the vision, those the things that we've cleared out become so deep. Like, there's such a depth to the wisdom of it. It's almost, that I think is almost scary for a lot of people, because like, wait, it's total opposite. It ends up being almost total opposite of what we thought we knew. And when we shatter that about ourselves, like, there's a fear that comes in that says, well, now what? Now what do I do? you know and we can get, that's that place, that's that plateau where we can get stuck in, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to hang out here in the nothingness. But getting stuck in the nothingness is a real deal. And
Yeah.
that is a scarier place than actually being free with your thoughts and actually being able to express them.
I 100% agree with you. When you're in that place, you literally have no feeling for anything. You have I feel like you have no emotions, you have no drive, you have nothing. You're literally like it's so freeing that all you can think about is just like your mind. But everything else around you like almost comes to a complete stop in
Mhm.
a really weird way.
But I think that we get to glimpse freedom, real freedom, when we're in that space. Because in
Yes.
freedom, there is no thought. In real freedom, there are like the emotions are very much under control. In real freedom, like you're motivated only to do what is in your highest purpose. In real freedom, like there's not all these distractions, and the motivation comes from deep within you. Like you're only motivated to do what will serve you, right? And when you're serving you, you're serving your highest self. But it can be very scary there because we don't have memory of that experience, but it's so free. But so then what happens is we create something, right? So that we can sort of jolt ourselves out of that space and get back to some sort of what we believe to be normalcy, which is in the mass consciousness. That's kind of where we're at. That's kind of where humanity is right now. It's like, okay, well, we had this huge distraction of, this virus thing. Well, now what? Now what do we do? Now, and a lot of people are in this space of, I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
that can be, it's a very scary space when you're in that. I don't know what to do. I have nothing.
Yeah.
You're shifting your consciousness when in that space is really what happens is you're getting rid of all of the old programming. You're clearing out your own psyche. And now you're starting to move into a creation space of, well, what do I get to create? That's where if we actually just focused on the real purpose of why we're here and we actually commit to it, we would leave that space much quicker.
you know, I think that I'm starting to wonder if I'm still in this free space a little bit.
It's okay to be in there. I mean,
But
and we move in and out of that space too. So,
yeah, but I think the creation that comes out of it, that's just it. That's the most rewarding part of it is you can create things that your mind cannot even fathom. You're just like, where
mhm,
did this even come from? But I think that's where people get stuck with it too, is you have this amazing idea that comes in and you can't even wrap your head around it. So how can somebody else wrap their head around it? But maybe it's not for anybody else to wrap their head around. Maybe it's only for you. Maybe that is for you to come up with this new amazing thing. And people just kind of disregard all of those downloads that come in because it's just like an idea to them that's so far out there. How can we actually accomplish this? But that's actually where it's at. And
mhm,
that is where the commitment comes in, where it's like, okay, I see this. I got this vision. This is the component that I need to do today. This is the next step. This is the next step. That's how it goes. And that's how you build it. You don't figure out everything right at first on how you're going to do the whole thing. We had no idea. We're
mhm,
still figuring things out as we go. And every day we create something new, something new, something new. And that's what it's about. That is what
mhm,
it's about. People get so caught up in that. How can I create this magnificent thing? But you can't just have a start to finish step by step instruction book on how to get there. It don't work like that. Every step you take, you get 10 more instructions. Every step you take, your intuition is just downloading all these instructions to you. And until you reach that step, you're not going to get the next download. We have to
mhm,
reach every step to be able to get there. And the commitment with it is it's very scary for people to look at the whole picture and be like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. But if we just focus on the step we're on right now, that's how it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
mhm. At the same time that you're focusing on the step right now. So here's the thing. If we focus on the how, we're going to fail.
Yeah.
because that's the energy of where we're moving into. There is no how in the future. If I'm going to literally look into the future, there's no how. There's just you following your intuition, which ultimately leads you to the giant purpose. And everything, all of that giant purpose can be fulfilled in one lifetime if you want it to be. There's this whole reincarnation thing, coming back and fulfilling your purpose over and over and over is just garbage. I mean, that stuff is, again, in the past, and we don't have to do those things anymore. That was another programming that came in that said, well, if you don't fulfill your purpose this lifetime, then you have to come back and do it. No, that's not true. That's a belief, and it's a lie. So, but when we do focus on the how, I we're well, I can, from my own experience, I can tell you it will make you fail, because now we're in times and energies of following the intuitive knowledge, because it's the intuitive knowledge that brings you to fulfilling every single tiny little aspect of the big picture. We're no longer putting puzzle pieces and trying to fit everything into the big picture. That's not the way the energy is anymore. It's you follow that purpose, you follow that intuitive hit, which creates the puzzle piece. See, there's no how here. It creates the puzzle piece, and when that piece is fulfilled, you move on to another puzzle piece. And so there's no more, how do I get this piece to fit? That's not how the energy works anymore. It's, no, I'm going to follow this intuitive hit until it actually manifests, and then I can move on to another piece, into
Yeah.
another avenue. But when we look at a giant picture, if we're looking at the picture of the earth, there are so many minute details of the earth, and you have to fulfill each one of those details in order to create that big picture. It's not an up down way of looking at things any longer. It's really the down up of looking at things, and which is the reversal of what we've been taught. So, this whole thing about being committed is, if we commit to the purpose, to the big mission, to the giant picture, we're committed to that, then all that needs to be is, that's where the focus needs to reside. The step that we're on right now needs attention and commitment, yes. But I'm not sure that it's, if that is where we hold the focus, we're very limited in the viewpoint. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Does it need
Yep.
attention? Absolutely. Do we need
Yep.
to focus on the attention of it? Absolutely. But if we also need to be like very dynamic in our focus, and we need to have several focuses going at the same time. But the giant picture always needs to be in the focus.
Yes.
'Cause
I completely agree.
if we lose that, then commitment goes out the door. The how starts to come in, and then we're going to fail. So we always
Yeah.
have these fear of failing, but what's failing? And who's going to judge me for failing? Me? I'm the only one that can judge me for failing,
And
right? Everyone else will
honestly,
gossip about that, but it's not really true.
you sometimes though, you have to fail to be
Yeah.
not like fail at the big picture, but some steps you will fail at because they don't fit into the vision. They don't fit into the big picture, but you try multiple different things to figure out what is working, what isn't working, what is the next step, what can we create now. It's a constant process. And is every single thing you create going to be off the charts? No. Come on, this is reality. We're about telling the truth to everybody, and everything is about a step. Some steps are amazing, some steps aren't as amazing, but you know what? They all have the same vision in the end. And we all have to jump a few hurdles to be able to figure out and produce the big vision.
Hmm. I think that when we um, fail, I think that that's where we follow the ego, and we're not
Yes.
actually following the intuition. It's a very different game when you're following the intuition. There's no real failure. I don't want to say
I
there's
know I
not
didn't
really
really want.
failure. It's like you follow that stream of consciousness until it ends,
Yes. And there's
and
something
then
you
there's a
needed to learn from it.
yeah,
There is
exactly.
some learning component within that. I didn't want to use the words fail because it doesn't fit, but I didn't really know how to what other word like would get the attention of that's what it is. You
Hmm.
know, it
Hmm.
isn't necessarily a fail, but it is a learning experience that needed to come in for you to have to be able to go further.
Yeah, and when we have those kinds of failures or learning experiences, like it clears a pathway.
Yes.
It opens you up. It clears a belief. It clears an emotion. It clears an atrocity. It heals you when those
Yes.
things happen. We have to look at the healing component of when we do have a failure or learning experience. What's the healing component here? We're so focused on, oh my God, I failed again, and then that whole drudgery of self judgment comes in. But if we actually looked at the big picture of that and we just said, okay, well, what's my experience? Where did I learn? And what did I clear here? It's a whole different experience of failure.
Yeah. Totally agree.
It
You
clears
gotta
you up for something
it,
new.
it's about how you view it. Everything is about how
Mhm.
you view things.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes, for sure. So I think that being committed to your highest purpose is a must. And you need to know what that is at all times, right? And don't be
Yeah.
afraid if it changes. Like,
It
that's
will
not
change.
failure. More than likely it will change because we're not in the same energy as we were yesterday or 10 years ago. We have to be in this flowing kind of energy where things do change, and you need to know what you're committed to at all times.
Yep. Yes.
Otherwise there's no picture. You're just sort of floundering around following the latest trend. Really, that's really what happens, is you just sort of follow the latest trend and you don't even know what you're doing. You have no idea why you're here. We always want to put so much meaning to life and everything, but why don't we just commit to the life that
Yeah.
you're here to fulfill? I mean, isn't that enough?
Yeah. It is.
It
It
is.
is. Yeah. Perfectly said. We would like to thank everybody for joining us today. I'm so happy to have everyone here. If you have something you would like us to discuss, please feel free to reach out to us. We would love to chat with you. Until next time, from our soul to yours, have a super fantastic day.